The break is over. Fights are back, and the UFC is headed to Kansas City with a very good main event. This was originally supposed to be Khalil Roundtree, and he was taking on Jamal Hill. That fight fell through because Jamal got injured, and the UFC did a very good job of putting together a meaningful matchup. Garry, one of the top 5 contenders on the planet, taking on rising up-and-comer Carlos Prates from a gym that nobody will stop talking about. So the question becomes, how good is Ian? How good is Carlos? Which one of them can work their way into a title shot with a spectacular win here? My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to give you my bets for UFC Kansas City. But before we jump in, let me remind you, we have a whole bunch of tools and insight. I'm about to walk through bets. I'm going to give you my bets. I'll give you a little teaser with some of Jacob's and some of Bet Sam's bets. And if you just like to copy paste bets, ride the wave with the boys, by all means, go ahead. But if you like to do a little bit of your own research, do some fact checking, double check, do a little deep dive, remind yourself how some fights went. If you go to WeWantPicks.com, we have a whole bunch of tools. We have a whole bunch of tools that help you find your bets, help you do some research, guide you, steer you away from bets that make no sense, and hopefully lead you into ones that do. The latest and greatest tool that we released 2 weeks ago is the Tape Index. Many of you like to go back and rewatch fights. Many of you want to be reminded, hey, I know Anthony Smith looked like shit, but how bad did he actually look? Well, here you go. Here's a full tape index for every fighter on every card, and this is built for the future. If you like to do your own deep dive research, whether it's data, whether it's tape study, we have every single tool you could ever need, and it's all available at We Want Picks. If you go to WeWantPicks.com, you click Become a Member, it's fucking $10. Stop being a turd. It's $10. You will unlock everything instantly. Tape Index is the latest and greatest. It'll give you every fighter on not only this card, but it's built out for the future so you can get ahead on your research. We have another tool called the Line Movement Tracker. This will give you the opening odds, the current odds, and the win probability for every fighter on every card. You're going to get the Prop Hunter. This is a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. And as more and more sportsbooks add takedown lines, more of them are adding significant strike lines, you can use this data to find those spots. Every single thing that we offer is available inside of an app. And the reason the app is important is you will get push notifications. This week specifically, there was no fights last week, but that didn't stop the boys from getting bets in early, beating the line movement. And everybody who has the app, everybody who has alerts turned on, got a push notification. Angelo just placed a bet. And the odds that you got during the push notification are a little bit different than the odds you may get today. The app is 100% free, so even if you don't have any of the premium membership features, you can go ahead, turn on the notifications, and you'll still get push updates when things happen. Download the app right now. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. Unlock premium membership to get full access to every single tool I mentioned, every single bet I haven't mentioned yet. It's all available at WeWantPicks.com. And here's the 4 events you're going to get. I mentioned it's $10 for an entire month. A full month's worth of access. A full month's worth of tools, worth of picks, worth of bets, worth of breakdowns. Everything in one single package for only $10. And here's the month. Here's the events you're going to have access to for that $10. You're going to get UFC Kansas City, UFC Des Moines, UFC 315, and then the fight night with Gilbert Burns and Michael Morales. These are 4 spectacular cards that have access to picks, bets, and tools for. Unlock all of it right now at WeWantPicks.com. Let's go ahead and talk about this card. I've got the bets, but before I talk about the specific bets, let's talk in generalities. Let's talk about some of my favorite favorites and some of my favorite underdogs. This feels like a weird card. We have 14 fights, 28 fighters to choose from, but it does feel very much like a chalk-heavy card. It feels like most of the favorites are going to win. There's a couple of dogs that make some sense, and we'll talk about them, but it feels like most favorites are going to win. And I know people hate that. I know they hate it. But if you go back to UFC 315, there were 13 fights. 11 favorites won. There were only 2 underdogs in that entire card that won, and neither one of them were like massive underdogs. So not every card has a +4, +5, +600 dog. This card, however, does feel like a couple of these big favorites are going to sell. It seems a little too easy, a little too straightforward, and you'll notice some names not on my most confident list. DaMon Blackshear, for example. He's very good. He should win this fight. I picked him to win this fight, but I have no bets on him whatsoever because I do have some concerns. His opponent is decent. DaMon Blackshear, though, isn't exactly aggressive, doesn't force action. He could get backed up. Randy Brown is another one. Not only is he not on my most confident favorite list, I have his opponent on some solid underdogs. But let's run through this logically. Jacqueline Amorim. She is by far my most confident favorite on this entire card. Her odds at minus 800 are not great. She was much more affordable 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, a week ago. And I'm going to show you a couple bets that I have with her in them. And when I placed those bets, the odds were a little more favorable. Minus 800 isn't exactly spectacular value, but I do think she wins this fight. And I'm very confident in that. We've broken this down a few times. We talked about Diana Barboza versus Diana Belbita. I mess those up every time. We talked about that a few weeks ago, and the narrative was one of these women takes their career seriously, the other one doesn't give a shit. And that reflected in the octagon. We had the exact same narrative last week. And there's always matchups where you have a fighter on the way up, a fighter who cares, and then a fighter on the downside who doesn't really give a shit. And that is what we have here. Jacqueline Amorim on the way up, minus 800. I think she absolutely runs through Polyana Viana. Jocelyn Edwards, minus 290. You know, it is a female MMA fight, and the odds are starting to get a little crazy. But I think Jocelyn Edwards is just quite literally better everywhere other than being enormous. Chelsea Chandler, her opponent, is just big as shit and just relies on being big as shit. So as long as Jocelyn Edwards doesn't get held against the cage, she should win this fight. Cleaner, faster strikes, fast kicks, stay on the outside, more mobile. She should win this fight. 3-1 odds. You don't love it, but it is what it is. Zhang Mingyang, these odds are tightening. A few days ago, he was minus 525. For whatever reason, money came in on Anthony Smith, and now he's minus 425. That extra point is decent. That matters. You have a couple of different bets going on. That extra point can be the difference between making a profit and not. Zhang Mingyang at minus 425 seems like very good value. If you just look at Anthony Smith and what he has been the last couple of years, you look at Zhang Mingyang, I understand Zhang is relatively untested. I understand Zhang hasn't fought anybody near the caliber of fighter that Anthony Smith is, but I will change that sentence to say that Anthony Smith was. He is no longer the guy that he used to be. He's not the guy that Glover beat the teeth out of his head and he picked him up and put him back in. He's not that guy. He unfortunately is a little older, a little slower, a little beat up, and I think Zhang Mingyang is just too young, too big, too strong, too fast. And then Ikram Alskirov. This is another fight where the odds have tightened. He was 7-1 the other day. 7-1. And now he's at minus 550. You almost got 2 full points on the line moving for Ikram Alskirov. I don't get it. I don't get it. He's fighting a jiu-jitsu nerd, and I get he was knocked out in his last fight, but there were circumstances there. First of all, he was fighting Robert Whittaker, one of the best middleweights on the planet, and he's been one of the best middleweights on the planet for a very long time. Second of all, he was supposed to fight in Las Vegas at a co-main event. Then they moved him off that card, shipped him to the other side of the planet to fight in Saudi Arabia on a week's notice against the top 5 middleweight. There was a lot of weird circumstances. It was a flash knockout. He got caught rushing in. I actually prefer that he got caught rushing in like that instead of just beat down for 3 rounds. If he got beat down for 3 full rounds, it's like, this guy kind of sucks. Getting caught is getting caught. That happens to everybody. I think Ikram is fine. I think he absolutely blows through his jiu-jitsu nerd, not dangerous opponent. Whether he uses grappling or striking, Ikram should absolutely dominate here. You could actually parlay these 4 people. These 4, Jacqueline, Jocelyn, Zhang, and Ikram. You could parlay all 4 of them, and I feel like that's a decent parlay. There are some favorites that I don't quite trust. Matt Schnell is one of them. And he's fighting Jimmy Flick. Listen, those odds have collapsed, and they should have. The other day, Matt Schnell, who is 1-4 in his last 5, who just lost 3 in a row, who if he sneezes too hard, he falls unconscious and blood comes out of his nose. That Matt Schnell was 3-1 favorite. A 3-1 favorite. It made no sense then. It makes no sense now. Now the odds are getting a little better. Matt Schnell probably wins this fight. I think he's just the better, more well-rounded fighter overall. But Jimmy Flick's not a bitch. He's not good at fighting. He's just not good at it. But he's got great submissions. He will move forward and he'll swing. He'll try to win this fight. And he might. Matt Schnell is way too chinny at this point in his career. Matt Schnell can also be submitted despite having decent grappling. It's not a crazy world that Jimmy Flick wins this fight. Therefore, decent underdog. John Castaneda as well. He's fighting Chris Gutierrez. Chris is good. Chris has good striking, great leg kicks, good fight camp. These two are supposed to fight I don't know, back at UFC 313, and then it got canceled last minute, literally a couple hours before the event. If you had the app, you got a push notification. It got canceled last minute because John Castaneda got sick. The reality is, this is a good matchup. This is a close fight. Whoever was the dog here is a good dog. This should be an even money fight, and it was. They opened the odds at even money. Even though last time this was booked, John was a slight favorite. This time it's booked. They opened the odds at even, and the general public, the betting public, moved the line for Chris to be a slight favorite, John to be a slight underdog. If John Castaneda moves forward, stays in Chris's face, removes the kicking range, works in a takedown, John Castaneda wins this fight. I think he's a good dog. I picked him last time. I picked him again this time. Nicholas Dalby at plus 210. Listen, he's fighting Randy Brown. Randy Brown is good. I understand Randy Brown's good. I also think Randy Brown won his last fight. I think he kind of got screwed a little bit there. He lost the fight because he was held against the cage. He lost the fight because he didn't really have that sense of urgency, but he landed more total strikes. There was only 2 takedowns in that fight, and he had them. But his back was against the cage quite a bit. No real true sense of urgency. So he didn't win the fight on the judges' scorecard. Split decision. He should have got it. He didn't. Unfortunately, that exact same thing could happen here. Nicholas Dalby does get dropped, and he is 40. But after he gets dropped, he fully rises from the dead, fully recovers. Nicholas Dalby will stay in Randy Brown's face. He does those insane, heavy breathing techniques, pushes you against the cage, stays in your face. You know he's going to be in phenomenal shape. You know he's not going to slow down. The question just becomes, how 40 is he? Is he a very old, beat up, used up 40? Or is he, relatively well preserved? Like the mosquito from Jurassic Park type 40. I think Nicholas Dalby is going to stay busy, move forward. I actually think Nicholas probably loses. I picked Randy Brown to win. But I think this is some weird bullshit, like a 29-28. Or a random split, because Nicholas Dalby does stay busy. He does stay in your face. He is durable. He got a 10-8 round against Rinat Fakhretdinov. Lost round 1. Lost round 2. Was getting mauled, essentially. Taken down, whatever. Couldn't get up. Round 3, puts a beating on Rinat to force a draw. Similar situation when he finished the Bonfim brother. Getting the shit kicked out of him. Stayed tough, stayed durable, came back, won that fight. It's not crazy for Nicholas Dalby to just survive, breathe weird, move forward, sneak out a bad decision or even a decent decision, and maybe a plus 3.5 bet's the way to go. And then Carlos Prates in the main event. Everybody's split here. That's how you know it's a good main event. When you get a bunch of people fighting with each other in the comment sections, that's how you know it's a good main event. We got people saying Ian Garry's the easiest money I've seen all year. We got people saying Carlos Prates is going to knock him out. Ian Garry's a cuck. First of all, the cuck nonsense, listen, it is weird. I mean, his home life is a little weird. It's not great. Does that mean he's a cuck? No. I think he's just a young dude who liked a hot older woman and just sort of doesn't run his house. And from a man who also doesn't run his own house, I get it. And actually, my wife is older than me. She's old as shit. I don't run this house. She does. She's the boss. She's so mean. Anyway. I wouldn't let her ex live here. That's fucking strange. So a little bit weird for Ian Garry, but I think this is a very close fight. I am picking Carlos Prates to win this fight because I do think Carlos is just far more dangerous. I think he hits really hard. We've seen it. And even if he's maybe a step behind in some of the striking exchanges, I think if he's hitting that hard, he's landing that clean, everything hurts Ian. It's going to make Ian tentative. Ian's not going to fully engage. Ian might start shooting stupid takedowns that really shouldn't be there. And Carlos Prates, all of a sudden, will gain some steam, look better and better. There are questions. Carlos Prates hasn't fought anybody any good. Literally hasn't fought anybody good. So we have no clue what it's going to look like when he does fight somebody good. But things have been going well for that fight camp. He obviously has high-level training partners. I can assume that even though he'll smoke on camera, the dude's not ripping butts between rounds. Maybe he is, and that's freaking insane. I imagine it's a bit of a shtick. Have a quick cigarette after. When the camera's looking, have a swig of whiskey when the camera's... That's got to be a shtick, right? He's not getting drunk, ripping butts every day. during the day. He's not running through a pack a day. I refuse to believe that. This isn't 1950s baseball with Babe Ruth getting drunk and then setting home run records. I imagine Carlos Prates can stay busy, land big, clean shots, which will force Ian to do dumb shit, like take shots that aren't there, not get takedowns that he should get. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be a weird decision. Carlos Prates is my pick, therefore a good underdog. Let's take a look at my actual bets. I got a bunch of bets on the board, 5.5 units, and I'm not done. I like this week. I genuinely enjoy this week. There's going to be some more prop bets coming, whether it's the takedown ones, the significant strike ones, or like a plus 3.5 on Nicholas Dalby. But if we take a look, we got Carlos Prates win inside the distance, decision, no action. Effectively, what that means is if Carlos Prates finishes Ian Garry, then we get paid, and we get paid out at minus 130. If he loses a decision, if he wins a decision, we get a full refund. That bet never happened. Here's your money back. And I don't think Ian Garry is going to finish Carlos Prates. Can Ian Garry win? Of course. Of course he can. Will he finish Carlos Prates? I just don't see it happening. He's getting good enough grappling looks to not be submitted. And Ian Garry, while a good, clean, fast striker, isn't exactly taking people's heads off. Michel Pereira, exact same logic. He's minus 180. I do think this pays out. The only reason I did this instead of betting Michel Pereira straight up, which his odds aren't crazy, is because there are some questions. He's got some personal shit going on. His wife is talking about he's cheating. This is his girlfriend. They dragged Jacob into the bullshit. She's tweeting about it. She's throwing it on Instagram. There's DMs flying all over the place. So he's got that going on in his head. Plus his cardio has never been unbelievable. So I said, you know what? Instead of Michel Pereira straight up to win, let's just go ahead and say Michel Pereira will not get finished. And he doesn't get finished. The dude is durable as absolute shit. And because he's durable, because he has so many ways to win, I actually think this pays out. But if he loses, I'll get a refund. Then I parlayed a couple of round overs that I liked quite a bit. We got the Edwards-Chandler fight. That's Jocelyn Edwards, Chelsea Chandler. We got the lady over there. And then the over on Castaneda Gutierrez. I think we're good on both sides. Castaneda is not very dangerous. Gutierrez can be dangerous at times, but Castaneda is tough enough. If he's shooting takedowns, staying out of the kicking range, he should be fine. And then the ladies are just going to be pot shotting the whole time. Maybe some cage smothering. Then we have that 3-leg parlay, which you basically saw on the first slide. Jacqueline Amorim plus Zhang Mingyang plus Ikram Aliskirov, minus 150 for all three. If you wanted to add Jocelyn Edwards to that, which I do not recommend, just stretching it out. I'm not a big fan, right? 3 legs is about as dangerous as conservative Ange will get. But if you want to add another leg to that, you can flip this to plus money. Then we have a couple more premium bets. I do have a premium parlay at minus 107, which I'm pretty confident in. And then a safety parlay at minus 142. Listen, a card like this where there's not insane value flying around, I actually managed to find some decent value. I got 5.5 units on the board right now as it sits. There will be more coming. I know there will be. I'm just waiting for some dust to settle. I may wait till after the weigh-ins just to see how some of these people look. But for the most part, I got 5.5 out the door. That'll bring back almost 10 if things go well. And we got a couple safe bets here with the decision, no action. You can unlock every other bet, including the safety parlay, this other premium one that I hid from you, at WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member. You'll get all the tools we mentioned in the beginning, plus the rest of the bets. And here's a couple of teasers. Right now, we have 29 total units of bets on the board. 29 total units of bets. That's more than just this event, though. We do have bets for UFC 315 up, ready to go. The UFC Baki, or however you pronounce that, we have bets there as well. So we have bets on the board for the future as well as the present. Here's a couple of teasers from everybody else. This is Jacob. This is Bet Sam. We got a Roberto Romero bet at plus 100. And this is a great bet because he is now minus 130, minus 140, something like that. So, if you have the app, if you're a premium member, if you're in the Discord as a premium member, then you went ahead and you saw this bet when it was placed. And if Roberto wins, you're going to get some very good odds. Jimmy Flick to win by submission, just a fun prop bet. Quarter of a unit pays out at plus 375. Randy Brown to win by KO, another fun prop bet. 0.35 units pays out at plus 450. If you don't watch everything that we do and you really just watch me, it's not just me putting up bets. It's me, Jacob, and then we have Bet Sam, a dude from New Zealand. Bet Sam puts out something called the Slam of the Week. He essentially ripped off my safety parlay. I mean, that's what he did. He essentially ripped off my safety parlay, but it's not always a parlay. Sometimes it's one single fighter that he's insanely confident in. Sometimes it is a parlay. And me, I'll do a safety parlay. I'll put 1 unit on it every week, no matter what. He, on the other hand, will put multiple units on his most confident bet. Again, whether it's a single bet, whether it's a parlay. His Slam of the Week, I don't have the results in front of me, but it is insane. Insane how often that is hitting. I don't know. What do we had? 12, 13 fights this year so far? I think he's missed one. Literally. I think he missed one, and it was a close decision. It's absolutely insane what he's been able to do with that Slam of the Week. I'm honestly it's a little annoying. But if you do want to unlock the safety parlay, the Slam of the Week, and the 20 other units of bets that we have on the board, you can do so right now. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's $10. You get all the tools, all the picks, all the bets. If you hate it, cancel, dude. Go to the account, cancel. It's $10. You know, it's $10. And the first slide, we talked about some of my confident favorites, some solid underdogs. I showed you the odds from a traditional sports book, and then you saw the odds next to it from Bet Openly. Bet Openly is not a sports book. That is not what they are. What they are is a platform that facilitates bets between different people. You put a bet on the board, there's another human being somewhere else that will take the other side. It's not you versus the website, like if you did DraftKings or FanDuel or any of those other sites. That's you versus them. They need you to lose to keep the lights on. Bet Openly doesn't care who wins or loses. All they do is take the odds, remove the 20% profit, take 1% as a processing fee, and that's from the winner. If you win a $100 bet, you'll get $99 in your account. They keep $1 for the website to work, and you made all that extra money with the savings that were passed on through the better odds. They also have a feature called Housing a Parlay. If I went up there and I put up a 4-leg parlay, you can grab the other side, and all you need is my parlay to bust. One of those 4 legs loses, you get paid. You get my money. Check them out now at WeWantPicks.com/betopenly or betopenly.com. And finally, we do have sportsbook partners. If you go to WeWantPicks.com/bets, use any of the affiliate links to sign up with any of those partners. You make your deposit, we can send you $50. It's that simple. If you use the link and you sign up, you make an account, you make your deposit, they're going to pay me commission. And then we'll slice off some of that commission. We'll give it right back to you. That's WeWantPicks.com/bets. I am so excited fights are back. I spent last weekend with my family in Florida. That was all nice. Oh, good to see you. Oh, the girls are getting so big. Blah, blah, blah. But now we're home and fights are back. And I like nothing more on a Saturday than to watch fights with the boys sometimes, even just on my phone out to dinner other times. Either way, fights are back. I couldn't be happier. Good luck this weekend. Hopefully, it works out for all of us.